Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all well and having a really great day so far. Today's video is my go-to autumn makeup look, and I put this look together using the McGRATH Mothership 3 Subversive palette. Not the first palette I normally think of when creating an autumn style look, but this shade here, Gigabyte, is absolutely gorgeous. Just look how reflective that shade is. So if you'd like to see how I put this look together, grab yourself a drink, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep on watching. As the weather starts to get a little bit colder, my skin can get really dry, so the first thing I'm going to do is hydrate my skin using this Embryolisse moisturiser. And I'm just applying that to my face and rubbing it into the skin. This one is a real firm favourite with makeup artists. It's a really nice moisturiser. It suits a lot of different skin types and it sits really well underneath your makeup. It doesn't disturb it at all. As well as my skin being quite dry in the colder months, it can also look dull. I really love to use an illuminator underneath my foundation just to brighten up my complexion, and my favourite is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This one's in the shade 2, and you can tell by the bottle it's really well loved. And I'm just applying that to the high points of my face. I'm not going to be precise with it at all. I'm just going to put it on quite roughly and blend it out with my beauty sponge. So just to the areas where I want to bring a bit more brightness to the face. And the sponge that I'm using is this one from Real Techniques. It works just as well as the Beauty Blender, but it is a fraction of the price. So if you are looking for a new sponge, I would definitely recommend this one. And straight away my skin looks so much brighter, but this is going to look beautiful underneath the foundation. It's going to look a lot more subtle and just give a really healthy glow. For foundation today, I'm using the Estée Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue, and this is one of my favourite foundations. I do love this formula a lot. I was using the shade 2C3, which is Fresco, but I found that shade is a little bit too dark for my skin tone. I went onto the Estée Lauder website and I've used their foundation matcher. It's recommended shade 1C1 Cool Bone, so hopefully this shade's going to match me much better. Just looking at this shade on my hand, it is looking like a fairly close match, so I'm hopeful so far. And I'm just applying that directly to the face with my foundation sponge, and actually I think that is a really close match. I do have a lot of redness in my cheeks, and I'm finding that the foundation is covering that well, and it's actually just evening out to my natural skin tone. Estée Lauder Double Wear was my go-to foundation for years and years, but actually I do think I prefer this one. It's still got the same really good coverage, but it feels a lot more lightweight on the skin. And I'm really pleased with that shade match. I think that the foundation has blended into my neck and chest really well. It's evened out my skin tone, taken a lot of the redness out of my cheeks, and as I said, I do really love this formula. It's by far one of my favourite foundations. I did also pick up an Estée Lauder Stay in Place Flawless Wear Concealer, and this is in the shade 1C, which is light cool. I have used this concealer before and I do really like the formula. I think that this particular formula works really well with the foundation. And I'm applying that under the eye and around the sides of my nose, just in the areas that I feel I might need that bit more coverage. I'm back in with my beauty sponge just to tap that in and blend with the foundation. And that's a really lovely formula. I don't think this particular concealer gets spoken about much on YouTube, and it's a shame because it's really great. Before I set my base makeup, I am going to put down an eye base, and I've really been enjoying using the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and the shade that I'm using is Vanilla. And I've just been applying this directly to my eyelid using my finger and blending it out. and then I'll set that down with powder when I set the rest of the face. This is just going to prep the lid and neutralise any pigmentation that I have before I apply my eyeshadow. And I'm just going to go over that with my sponge just to make sure that it's blended into the rest of the base products. For powder, I'm using the NARS Light Reflecting Loose Setting Powder, and this is in the shade Crystal. I have been using this as part of my project pan and I do love it. It's really finely milled and I think that it sits beautifully on the skin. I'm applying that using this big powder brush from Spectrum Cosmetics, and I'm just tapping that into the skin to set the base. And this is really going to just lock in that foundation. Now the base is set, you can just see that very soft glow coming from the Hollywood Flawless filter. It just gives a really natural looking, healthy highlight. My complexion does need a bit of colour and life putting back into it, so I'm going to apply some bronzer. My current favourite is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the shade Luminous Bronze Light. You can see that I've hit pan on this, and this one has definitely had a lot of love from me. And I'm applying that using this big Morphe M527 brush. I find that I just reach for this brush often when I'm applying bronzer. It just gives a really nice soft application and really blends into the rest of the makeup. So just applying it to my cheeks, my temples and up into my hairline as well. Just where the sun would naturally bronze my skin. And also a bit to the nose. I do also like to put a little bit on my lids as well. For brows today, I'm going to be using two products, the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 3 and also the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. So starting with the brow pencil, and the first thing I'm going to do is just give my brows a good brush through with the spoolie. This is just going to brush the hairs through and make sure they're in the right place just before I apply the pencil. So starting on the underneath the brow and then taking that down the tail. And then going in on the top, joining that to the tail. And I'm not going anywhere near the start of the brow. I'm building up the colour towards the tail and then gradually fading in to the start of the brow. And going back in with the spoolie just to brush the product through to make sure that it's dispersed evenly throughout the brow and you haven't got any clumpy bits. And lastly, I'm going to set that all in place using the brow setter. This is just a clear brow gel and I'm just brushing that through using the applicator. For my eyes today, I'm using the Pat McGrath Mothership 3, which is the Subversive palette. When I think about autumnal tones, this is not the palette that immediately jumps to my mind, but let me tell you, there's 3 shades in here which I'm going to show you that are just absolutely perfect for this time of year. To start with, I'm taking the shade Deep Shade and applying that to the crease using this fluffy brush from Morphe. And this is just a dark brown matte shadow. But if you apply it in small amounts, you can blend it out to have a much sort of softer look. And I will zoom you in so you can take a closer look at the eye makeup. So going back into the shade again, just build it up slowly and blend out as you go. And I'm taking it into the crease and just that little bit higher as well, because I do have hooded eyes, so I want to be able to see this colour when I look straight forward. And the formula of these matte shades are just gorgeous. They're very pigmented, easy to build up, but you can also sheer them out as I'm doing now. So really, really versatile shadows. And you can see they don't look patchy at all when they're blended. Really nice to work with. I'm also going to take deep shade down onto the lower lash line, and I'm applying this using a Zoeva brush. This is the Petite Eye Blender. So just taking it down and then joining it up with the eyeshadow on the top of the lid. And you can go back in with your blending brush just to soften that edge. I'm now taking a very, very small amount of the extreme black shade onto a Zoeva Luxe Crease brush, and I'm just going to run that right into the socket to give a small line. And I really like the shape of this brush because that pointed tip is going to give a much more precise application. But I just want to lightly define the crease with this. So by applying that darker black shade just above the crease, it's actually given the illusion that this part of the eye is set back and the lighter part, which is the eyelid, is brought forward. It's made me appear as though I have much more lid space, even though I've got hooded eyes. And now that the base for the eyeshadow is laid down, I'm now going to apply the lid colour, which is the showstopper of this look. And the shade that I'm going to be using is Gigabyte. And I'm applying Gigabyte directly to the lid using my finger. I'm just tapping it all across the whole lid, and I'll neaten it up later with a brush. But this is a beautiful reflective green gold shade. And I'm going to neaten up this edge using this Morphe M124 brush. And I really hope the sparkle of this green shade is picking up well on camera, because in real life it's just absolutely stunning. And I'm just making sure that I brought that shade on the lower lash line all the way across. And I'm going to finish off this shade by adding Skin Show Fever right into the inner corner. And that's the eyeshadow now done. I'm going to quickly jump off camera to apply liner, mascara and lashes, and I'll be back to finish the rest of the look. So this is the finished eye look and I just love it. I've thrown on a black winged liner, mascara and the Ardell Wispy lashes, and I think that's just really pulled everything together. But for me it's all about that Gigabyte shade. That lid shade is just so unique, so shiny and shimmery. I just absolutely adore it. Because the eyes are the star of the show in this look, I do prefer a more neutral lip, and my go-to nude lip at the moment is the matte lip liner in Subculture. This was part of my project pan, but I think I may be able to squeeze one more use out of it. I have ordered a new one because I definitely miss this one in my collection, and I love to pair that with the MAC Creme de Nude lipstick. And then in with the lip colour, I also want to keep my blush shade fairly neutral, so today I've chosen this one from Tom Ford, which is in the shade Inhibition. I also want to keep my highlight shade quite soft, so I'm going to be using this one from the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Ghost Palette. And I like to just blend that all together with my powder brush just to soften the application. And finally, I'm going to set the makeup with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. So guys, this is my finished go-to autumn makeup look, and you can let me know your thoughts on the look in the comments below. As usual, I'll link all of the products that I've used in today's video in the description box, just in case you want to check them out for yourself. But I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because I would love to have you back. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.